I have no right to be making this video right now, but I'm here and I'm excited for 2024 because it's gonna be wild. Before we talk about the future though, let's have a look at the past year, at my 2023 language learning goals. In last year's goals video, I said that language learning wasn't gonna be a top priority anymore for me. And because of that, I decided that instead of dividing the year into quarters or thirds and learning one language or multiple languages for each of those time periods, I was going to be working on language projects. Some of the projects I had planned for 2023 were the BBIM challenge, which is a Korean reading challenge that I was going to work on for the first few months of the year. The Canto 2023 project, which once upon a time was a Canto 2022 project and is now probably gonna turn into a Canto 2024 project or Canto 2025 project. Then there's also a general reading challenge that was just supposed to get me back into reading a little bit, and the goal was 12 books. I also wanted to read Atomic Habits with my boyfriend in Spanish, just to get me started with learning Spanish again. And I also wanted to learn some German grammar and brush up on my Japanese grammar, which I was hoping would get me back into learning Japanese. For those of you who don't know me, this might sound like a lot. Actually, it is a lot. But before summer 2022, I could focus most of my attention and energy on learning Japanese. My life essentially revolved around language learning. Plus, it's not like I was learning all of these languages from scratch. Well, a lot changed in fall of 2022 when I started my master's degree in linguistic data science, and I totally underestimated how much of literally everything it would take for me to keep up and pass my classes. So I entered the year thinking that, I was just gonna go to uni and study, and in my free time I could work on languages because surely it was just the first semester that was gonna be this busy, right? Wrong. I fell off the BBIM challenge sometime in February, and I think that it is partly because I started to relearn Japanese and I was just unable to do Japanese and Korean at the same time. And then Japanese went pretty well for a few months until like late May, where my second semester just turned out to be even worse than the first semester, and I just had to drop all kind of language learning activities. Then my summer break started and I started to understand that if I wanted to finish this degree, I would have to focus on just that and put language learning to the side. But because I didn't want to give up that whole part of myself, I started to learn a little bit of Spanish here and there again, and I really wanted to make progress because me and my boyfriend were gonna go to Spain and it was a really good motivator. But then I just fell off that when university stuff picked up again and I had projects to work on, and I just don't learn my lesson. After that, I just told myself that I would wait until I'm not as busy with classes anymore before I pick up a language again. Third semester rolls around, I was considering taking a language class, but I told myself no. Semester progresses, I make really good progress with my classes, with projects, I drop some classes I don't need, everything settles in a little, no languages. Then it was late November and I was starting to think about 2024, what classes I'd have left to take, how much more I have to do until I graduate, and I was thinking, maybe now would be a good time to very slowly reintroduce language learning into my relatively stable schedule. And for a while I was thinking which languages I'd want to study and what would make sense with my schedule and everything going on next year. And I was thinking maybe start French and pick up Spanish and Korean again, and Japanese shouldn't be too hard to add. But then I was like, wait a second, in no universe am I gonna be able to keep up with that. That's when I decided that for the next 6 months, until I'm done with my degree, I will only focus on one language. And I will commit to that language and not look back. And then I spent the next few days thinking about what one language I should study, because I knew that realistically I could make quite some progress in 6 months. But picking one meant saying no to all the others. And so I was thinking, should I do Korean because I like how it looks and I like how it sounds? Or do I go back to Spanish because I feel like I could actually get somewhere in 6 months? Or Japanese, because I basically already know it and only need to refresh it, which would be a lot less work than learning a language from scratch. The more I thought about it though, the more I realized that if I wanted to stick to a language, the process needed to be extremely time and stress proof. Because with still having to work on school projects, potentially finding a job, having to write a master's thesis, I need something that can survive all of that. And there's only one language that has always been fun to learn, that has always made me happy, always brought me joy, and never added to my stress. If you said Japanese, you don't know me well enough. I love Japanese. It's a beautiful and interesting language, but it definitely comes with its little pack of negative emotions. Besides, my master's thesis is on a Japanese topic, and so it will yet again be my working language for the first half of 2024. At the end of November, I decided that the only language I can realistically study consistently in 2024 will be Dutch. It's been almost 2 years. Can you imagine that? Some of you might not even know of the Dutch craziness that was going on in 2021, but let me tell you, it was glorious. And I'm not gonna go into my history with Dutch in this video, I'll keep that for another time. But let me tell you, I'm so excited to finally continue my Dutch saga after all this time. December served as a kind of trial month just to see where I was at with the language, how I felt about it, and well, based on that, I just created a very rough outline for the next few months. In January, get back into a routine, reading, and start tracking. In February, solidify routine, start more listening practice. March, start writing practice on Journaly and up my hours. April, try to keep consistency despite the new semester starting. May, June, July, stay consistent despite school craziness, maybe start speaking practice. As of now, I don't have any more concrete goals, but maybe I'll come up with some as I progress on this journey. For now, this is it. Very simple, very doable, and I'm already so happy with my decision. Let me know how your 2023 went, if you're going crazy on the 2024 goals, or if you're also taking a step back and really focusing in on one thing. Either way, let me know in the comments. Thank you for always putting up with my being all over the place and always cheering me on. I'll see you in the next video. Happy New Year!